Let's go. Hey, 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 yo, come on. Hey, 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 yo, oh yeah. Hey, 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 yo, let's go.
Welcome, everyone, to the Fantastics Insider Baseball podcast. I'm Lou Blasi, along with Skylar Dombroske from Fantastics and InsiderBaseball.com. How you doing, Sky?
Doing great, man. It's sunny. You can see.
I know, right?
How about you?
All week long for 4 or 5 days, I looked at my little schedule app, my widget on my phone, and it's like for the next 5 days, we weren't cracking 50. It's like, wait a second, it's April.
50?
What's going on? Yeah.
If we had done this Monday morning, you would have seen a blizzard out there.
Oh yeah, you get some snow.
Yeah, it was 80. It was 80 Saturday night, and it was 28 in a blizzard, like an absolute whiteout Monday morning.
You hit 80 Saturday night, huh?
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
All right, so this is what I wanted to get to right off the start here, because we're talking hot and cold players, and I think the point of emphasis here is cold in general and cold players in general. And we have to talk, when we start this talk, we have to talk about the weather and April baseball and things like that. But as I tried to make my case, because my offense on my top teams is just abysmal, it's really horrible. And we're going to talk about a bunch of guys today who are cold from the Kansas City Royals, who are in general very cold.
Yep.
Right? And I've got a lot of stock in the Kansas City Royals offense so far this year. But we have to make a weather argument, but I couldn't make a full weather argument because I just started looking at league numbers and ERAs. And the ERA isn't down all that much in April as opposed to the last 2 or 3 years. And I didn't have time to look into the past Aprils and things like that. Starting pitching is a little bit low compared to the last full years. But overall, it's been kind of a mixed bag, isn't it? It's not all weather. It's not all April baseball. And is Kansas City the new Chicago in April, or
no, I don't.
Wrigley Field in April, or what's going on there?
We've seen these team-wide malaise kind of things in the past. And again, we have 4 weeks of data, maybe.
Yeah.
So we're an eighth of the way into the season. This could all, and it will all look drastically different in another month for the National Day of Potential Concern. So,
but pitchers are ahead of hitters. It is cold. There is some of that element in there, but I don't think you can look at the players we're going to look at who are on the cold side of this list. We're doing hot and cold hitters and pitchers. I don't think, because there is a hot list, you can't just look at the cold list and just write it off as April baseball, because that's not all of it right now.
Oh, definitely not. I mean, the first guy we're going to talk about, I have watched him in a turtleneck half the time so far this year. So, you know, I don't think it's the weather. Certainly the ball will carry a little more in the warmer weather, but it's not to the point where it's making a giant impact. And I mentioned this to you when we were putting this list of players together. We could have quadrupled this list easily on both sides. And we could have been here for 3-4 hours talking about why guys are off to the starts that they're off to. And that's the whole thing, I think, is that it's a start. And it's an eighth of the way through the season. So there is no reason to take 2 or 3 months of research that you did and throw it out the window already.
And I want to make the argument that it's April because, again, my offenses are abysmal, and I want to solve my wounds a little bit here. But I see too many hot teams and too many hot players to just write it all off. So it's got me a little concerned on some of these players. We're going to talk about some of them because, again, I'm cold, and a lot of them are going to be on this cold list here.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, my Tout Wars offense, I was going through it, and I almost just didn't because I'm 6-0, and I was like, nice. Everything's fine. But I was just starting to look at guys like Manny Machado and Francisco Lindor, and I have like 7 guys that are Jaron Duran that are just awful. It's just like 3 standard deviations lower than their norm performance, and I'm like, man, this team if the offense heats up, this team's going to be unstoppable.
I don't know if the Red Sox fall into that team malaise we talk about because the offense is brutal. It's bad.
It has been bad. And if there is a team that could conceivably play the weather card offensively, I would think it would be the Red Sox. They seem to have had sort of a disproportionate number of games that I would view as cold. But again, the Yanks have played in a lot of cold weather too, and they have their good days and bad. The offense hasn't been quite as good as I thought it would be, but they're certainly top 10 to this point still, and it has been a lot of cold offense. So, I think, excuse me, I think with Boston's case, the playing time distribution is just really whacked right now. I'm not I am not a fan of what Cora has done so far this year.
I think we've talked about this in the past podcasts. In the most recent podcast, the Red Sox are a head case type team. They are in their heads big time. They're a young team, and Darren Duran is definitely in his head. Roman Anthony is in his head at this point. Caleb Durbin, I understand why he's in his head, but he may not be that good either. But the team in general is just lost mentally.
When your leaders are not playing well,
Yeah.
and they're three best players, who would you say they are? Because I have in my head both sides of the ball.
Crochet, Anthony, and who would be number 3?
Probably Duran.
I
mean, that's not the perception there,
Yeah.
but on sheer talent and on past history, I think he is.
Again,
And all three of those guys are struggling.
if you go with the Bill James, once a guy displays a skill set, he owns it. And Duran has been very good at times.
Mhm.
He's not
And
really good
we
for-
watched him in the WBC, both of them.
That's true.
And he was outstanding. So to be that good on that stage against essentially the same level or better competition, and then not to be able to play in Fenway, but he's getting yanked out of the lineup 3 days a week.
Yeah.
You can't. This is the problem. Like, we talk about this all the time when they're bringing up young players. If you're not going to play them every day, don't bring them up in the first place, because it is very difficult to play, not play, play, not play, play, not play. You just get no rhythm going.
And if you don't start hot, to recover, to get back on track and doing it on 3 days a week or 4 days a week, that's difficult to do.
As you're looking up at the giant board and seeing yourself on the interstate.
Yeah, we've talked about that, and it's a factor at this point in the season where you're walking up to the plate all the time and you're hitting 143. That's not the message you want to get right before you step into the box.
Well, definitely not, especially when you're like, okay, well, there's a righty going, but if they bring a lefty out of the pen, I might get pinch hit for us. I might only have 2 plate appearances, so I really have to. I mean, it's abnormal pressure, and that's another thing that this is going to be my hobby horse for this year. I think I am sick and tired of the just overwhelming number of platoons. There are guys that should be platooned, and there are guys that shouldn't. Yep. You do not platoon your top half hitters unless there's a really good, like 5 years of track record that says they can't hit same side pitching. Yep. Otherwise, like a guy like Rob Refsnyder, I mean, you play him against left-handed pitching, you don't play him against right-handed pitching. But guys like Jaron Duran, Ben Rice, like these guys have to play. You don't bench them against a lefty. First of all, they're good defensively.
You cannot sit Ben Rice.
Well, I think Boone has figured it out after, we'll say, a moderate amount of uproar when he sat for 3 games out of 4, and he was the number 1 hitter in baseball at the time.
Yep.
But, Aaron Boone, Alex Cora, these guys just, they're good managers and they're bad. And those two, I wouldn't put them in the good manager category.
I don't know about Boone, but the Cora situation to me is I don't think Cora is calling his own shots.
Do you think it's coming from above?
I think to a large extent it is. Yes. I think it is. Plus, by the time he's also searching for playing opportunity for a lot of these guys by citing platoons, and he's also trying to get the team jump started by citing platoons and things like that. He had Monasterio sitting for Marcelo Mayer yesterday, which was.
I mean,
what are we doing?
Marcelo Mayer is a significantly better player than Monasterio.
Yeah, and you get a young kid who's struggling. You don't pinch hit for him in those situations, right?
Exactly. Monasterio is a career reserve infielder. He should be a spot starter to give a guy a rest, and that is it.
And there was a lot of talk up here about with all the arm problems that Roman Anthony has had about taking him out of left field. No, you don't do it. You straighten the kid out. First of all, you ruin him. You're in his head. The only reason you can't throw is because you're in his head, because we weren't talking about this last year. Well, certainly him in the minors, the scouting reported no arm problems. He's just messed up. And he's messed up right now at the plate, too. Let him work through it.
Yeah, well, in left field in Fenway is a unique animal anyway. So you really, if the kid's going to play there long term, you want him to get the experience to play there. Yeah. And he's clearly a cornerstone of that team for the next decade or more. So
God willing.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't understand what these guys are doing. And Boone, Yankee fans used to argue that stuff was coming from above, but Boone is on his own recognizance. He makes his own decisions. And, the key attribute of a New York manager, potentially as the same as a Boston manager, is handling of the media. And Aaron Boone does a very good job handling the media. So he is probably a very good manager for the New York Yankees. But as far as personnel decisions, I believe that he leaves quite a bit to be desired.
Yeah. How is he in the clubhouse?
Supposedly it's terrific.
Yeah.
I haven't been there, so I don't know. my days of clubhouse time are behind me.
No, I understand, but the clubhouse on the Yankees in particular is an interesting clubhouse because there's a lot of personality there, and the Red Sox clubhouse is interesting because it's young and there's head cases. It's disturbing what's going on mentally with a lot of these young players, and Cora's struggling with that right now. I don't know how Boone's doing with keeping track. He's got to keep the clubhouse together on the Yankees. That's the main manager's job for the Yankees, is keeping the clubhouse together
and keeping the press off you.
Yeah.
So as far as I am concerned, you're correct. Those are jobs A and B, and he does a good job at those. So we all deal with the nonsense with the bullpens and the personnel usage, et cetera, et cetera. So,
all right, let's start the show with Ben Rice. We'll hot hitters here, and Ben Rice is always a great subject. We always have fun with you talking Ben Rice.
Well, I mean, I've been on Ben Rice since he was in AAA,
yep.
and saying that they should bring him up, and then they're saying they should play him more. And right now, we'll get into the minutia here, but the only negative involving Ben Rice is that he hasn't played catcher yet, which leads me to believe that he's not going to play catcher except in an emergency, which leads me to believe that this is the only year he's going to have catcher eligibility, which is depressing because Ben Rice is one of the best hitters in the American League. He's hitting .319, .461, .754. He's third in sorry, I don't know what happened. Third in hard hit rate, ninth in exit velocity. Chase rate is down just barely over 20%. Swing strike rate 9.3%, which is well better than average in the league. You could have seen this coming last year because, yes, he only hit 255.
You did see this coming.
I saw this coming, but
yeah.
You universally could have seen this coming because 255 average, 499 slugging last year. Great numbers for a first full season in the majors, to be sure. But the expected data for StatCast was 283, 28 points higher in batting average, and 557, 58 points higher in slugging. So, that's an all-star. And now he's 27 this year. He's got 8 homers already, 30 home runs. I mean, it seems like a certainty to me at this point, unless he gets injured. And, he's only playing first base, but he is going to be a top 5 first baseman, it looks like.
64% hard hit percentage, 94.8 exit velocity, 42% home run to fly ball rate, and he's not going to sustain that, but he's going to hit a ton of home runs.
Oh, yeah, I didn't say he's going to hit 60, but 30. No. 30 seems certain.
Well,
I think he could hit 40.
Cal Raleigh hit 60. Anything's possible.
Cal Raleigh, I'm very pleased about the article that we wrote for Fantasy Baseball Index about Cal Raleigh because, I mean, right now, if Cal Raleigh finishes top 5 as a catcher, I might actually be surprised.
I know, but the whole anomaly of last year scares me. I would like to see more of the skill set because it's hard to understand a season like that coming out of the blue.
Well, I mean, Brady Anderson is the first thing that comes to mind, but there are plenty of guys that are 30 to 40 home run hitters that the sun could shine on them for 162 games and they hit 60. There's probably a list of 30 guys in the league that could apply to. It just happened to apply to Cal Raleigh last year. It was magnified because he was a catcher and he was in the playoff race. So, I think it's one of those things where the legend just sort of outstripped what actually happened. It was a very good year, but he was in the MVP consideration. I don't think so. Like if you look at the actual numbers, it shouldn't have been close, really.
Ben Rice, we've got the combination of extremely good power and a great hitting approach to him. Nothing has changed in terms of his pull rate and fly ball rate, ground ball rate. He's a little more ground ball rate. That'll come up a little bit, which is good. The only drawback is he's not going to have the catch qualification. Depending on your league rules, he's probably not going to gain a catch qualification this year. If
they need a little more flexibility at some point during the season, I could see them sending Escara down and having Rice be the second catcher for, it would only take 4 to 6 weeks for that to happen. Right. And he would obtain eligibility. So there have been a couple instances already where I thought that they should have pinch hit Escara for, somebody late in the game, be it Caballero or Ryan McMahon, who's been struggling terribly. You could pinch hit this guy late in the game and either leave him in the game or have Ben Rice take over catching, right. Even just a couple innings, those count for games played. So it's possible. But as of now, 20-some games in, it doesn't look like he's going to get it.
But there's nothing illegitimate about his offensive performance at this point.
Oh, goodness, no. I mean, you've got borderline elite level plate discipline, well above average contact ability with well above average power. Yeah, he only has one stolen base, but he has good speed for a catcher. He has average speed. So at first base, honestly, he's probably above average for the position in terms of speed there. So he's above the median everywhere you look at both positions.
All right. Jordan Walker has already topped his home run total from 2025, and we're halfway through April.
All right. So of the hot guys on the list, he's the one that I'm least sold on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, all right. So here's the deal.
Yep.
He's hitting 292, 357, 607. It's a great start. He's only 23 years old. He's got 8 homers, 4 steals already. We're on pace for a 50-30 year, which, that's not going to happen. But, 11th in hard hit rate, 5th in exit velocity on average, over 95 miles an hour. Fantastic. Ground ball rate's down 15%. That, I think, that's actually important. And I think that that's something that he will continue to do over time, is improve the launch angle to take advantage of the excellent raw power that he has.
Mm-hmm.
But 16.6% swing strike rate.
Yeah.
Still, this is how he's hitting with that. We've seen this before where guys can have a hot couple months. Pete Crow Armstrong comes to mind, who we'll be talking about in a little while.
Yeah.
There is a prohibitive level of swing and miss that, yes, you will get hot streaks. The player will perform well. You'll think that the breakout is imminent, but then they'll go through a horrific slump because they just do not make enough contact to have sustained success to be the star that we all think they can be. And I think Jordan Walker kind of fits into that basket. Yes, chase percentage is down 3. The in-zone swing percentage is up 5. These are the things that we want to see happen. But put simply, just a raw contact ability is not there. The swing decisions are okay. They're not great. And the contact ability is really, really bad, but he can do a lot of damage when he makes contact. So players like that, that is not a star level performance. That is a in and out of the lineup when they're hot and cold type performance. And I feel like we will see that as we move through May and June. I think you'll see a pretty bad slump from Walker.
Walk rate is up. Swinging strike rate is about where it's, his swinging strike outside swing rate is basically where we've seen it. It's about level. Swinging strike rate is, of course, very high. This just suggests to me that early on, that because of the Cardinals' offense, the way it's set up, they're kind of pitching around him a little bit, but they're going to stop doing that. They're going to attack him a little bit more.
Well, they could. That offense is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So you could continue to pitch around him and just, hope that he starts chasing a little more. He is not an extremely patient hitter. So no. I think that he's someone I would avoid in that lineup if I were attacking it as a pitcher. But I just 16.6% swing strike rate. I am not on board. I really feel like if you could exploit that and find somebody that thinks this is like the next major breakout, by all means, give it a shot.
All right, Ben Rice, the real deal. Jordan Walker, perhaps not as much. Sal Stewart
is the real deal. Sal Stewart is terrific. I wish I had put him on the last pod we did with my guys for the year, but we already had Ben Rice at first base, so you can't just keep loading at one position. But Stewart's hitting 299, 394, 632, and by the way, the guy's 22. Okay, yep. He's 22, hits in a very favorable park, 8 homers and 6 steals already. We're looking at 40-40 here for Sal Stewart. Unlikely, but he's just so impressive. The swing rate is down 4.4%, which to me, it leads me to believe that, number one, they're pitching around him a little bit in that lineup. That lineup's good, but not outstanding. So you can kind of pick and choose who you want to attack, and you certainly would probably attack somebody like Ellie De La Cruz over Sal Stewart, who's a little more disciplined of a hitter, more likely to make contact. Chase rate's down 5, swing strike rate's down 1. He's actually better than average now. Exit velocity is not to the level of the first 2 guys we talked about. We're only around 91.5, but that's perfectly good enough, especially in that ballpark. Yeah. The steals I'm a little whacked on because he has below average speed. But I saw Giancarlo Stanton steal a base earlier this year, and you can time him with a sundial. So anybody can steal a base with these new rules. So I think Stewart, Maybe he gets to 20 steals, maybe, but I think that pace will slow down quite a bit from the 6 we've seen already this year. Other than that, though, kid's a terrific hitter, and he's only going to get better. 22, you got 4 years so you even get into your prime.
Yeah, and I also think that he's down a little bit on his quality of contact from the year before. It was only 55 at bats the year before, especially the exit velocity is down a little bit. I think he's just settling in. And I think once he settles in, still young, he's got a couple physical gears left to gain at this point. There's just all kinds of potential for quality of contact and exit velo. That power is there. The power is legitimate. And again, what we look for with power is, does he have a hit tool to go with it? And he definitely does.
Exactly. I mean, he looks like a right-handed version of Ben Rice, to be perfectly honest. A little bit less plate discipline, but the other stuff looks pretty much equivalent.
All right, Kevin McGonigle, off to a very, 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 very hot start.
This kid, man, I've been impressed with him since minute one as a pro. He just hits. He's only 21 years old. He only has 1 homer and 1 steal so far, but 8 doubles and 2 triples too. Shows you a little bit of the gap power that he has. I think, as opposed to the other 3 guys on this list, the power is definitely capped a little bit with McGonigle. He's not the same kind of build and likely won't get to that same kind of build, even though he has, maybe 4 more years of physical growth involved in there. 88.2 mile an hour exit velocity on average, which is a little bit below average, but 322, 410, 494 slash line, 28% line drive rate, shows you the batting average chops that are going to be there. 22% chase, 4.7% swing strike rate, just elite level plate discipline and contact ability. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of a slower version of Francisco Lindor at the same age.
Yeah.
And if you recall, Lindor in his rookie season, I think it was age 21 or 22 for the Indians, the Guardian, well, it was the Indians then, so we'll count that. Hit 310, hit 12 homers, like 20, 25 steals. I think you could see a similar performance from McGonigle, except the steals will probably be cut in half from that number. Just a very, very good hitter. Classic number 2, number 3 type hitter that is going to be a cornerstone in Detroit for a very long time. Just looks like a professional hitter.
He's 187 at 21, or listed at 187 at 21. Give him, let's get to our 1,100, 1,200 major league at bat model in 2 or 3 years, and he's at 195, 197.
200 maybe?
200, right?
All 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, sure.
That gets him into the 90-plus exit velocity on a fairly regular basis. He's going to contribute some power.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see the Francisco Lindor kind of power breakout where he gets up into the 30s.
No.
But, if he's a 320 hitter with 20 homers and 10 to 15 steals every year, I don't think anybody's going to complain too much. And that is probably where he lands in 3 to 5 years.
He's a very floor of 15-15 and possible 20-20.
And I think the floor is a very, very good batting average. I don't know if you want to say 300 is a floor, but 285.
That's a lot in this game.
Anymore? Absolutely, It is.
That's a lot. But it's a quality hitter who's young. You're going to have to wait for the power a little bit and him to flesh out in terms of the power. But there's going to be some there. It's not going to be elite power, but it's going to be good.
I think you'll see something like 40 doubles, 10 triples, 15 homers this year with a 300-plus batting average and 10 to 15 steals. I mean, he's going to fill up the stat sheet. He's just not a massive power or speed guy.
From a 21-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
If Roman Anthony could lift the ball, we might see some power out of him too.
Let's not write him off right yet.
I'm not writing Roman Anthony off. I'm a Red Sox fan and I'm frustrated. I've been watching him now.
Bitter. He's a great player.
You watch him for 3 weeks. No, not him. The Red Sox in general. He's fine.
I've been watching Jaron Duran with interest.
Yeah. I love Roman Anthony, and Roman Anthony, I think, as we discussed last time, is just he's not overwhelmed. He's a little overwhelmed right at the moment, but he's not the guy as opposed to a Duran who might be derailed by being to a cold start. I don't think Roman Anthony is. I think he's going to keep plugging. He's
going to be fine. You can see it in the WBC. I mean, the kid is he's got a good head on his shoulders. He'll be just fine. A lot of the guys from the WBC are scuffling a bit.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Well, to go from that level of competition, which was max effort, max intensity, then to go back to spring training, which is 0 intensity, and then to try to ramp it back up again for the season. People think that there's just some switch for these guys that they flip, and there really is. There might be in the NBA. I watch a lot of NBA, and it feels like there's a switch there, but baseball is a different animal, and I just don't feel like you can just kind of like lock that back in.
I also think with Roman Anthony, the WBC example is particularly poignant because on the WBC, he was like a hey kid, batting lower in the order and just being part of what was a really great team with a bunch of great leaders around, including Alex Bregman, who he had a relationship with and did very well with him in the clubhouse. He comes back to Boston, goes up north. He's going to be the leadoff hitter. He's going to be the face of the franchise. He's going to be the star. And I think that's a tough role for a 21-year-old to take on.
It is. And you went from, a beautiful hitting environment and a ton of intensity to getting yelled at in 40-degree breezy weather. Maybe not the best thing. I don't know.
And if he had any struggles with our WBC, there's 12 guys in the clubhouse who could help him out. There's nobody in this clubhouse that can help him out.
That's an unfortunate side effect of the Bregman situation where, I don't love the guy as a player. I think he's a very good player that is probably quite a bit overrated.
Yeah.
But his presence in the clubhouse, by anyone's estimation, is terrific.
It's excellent. And beyond that, if we just isolate it to his effect on Roman Anthony, he would have been worth a contract right there. Just to nurse it along.
Yep.
All right, Alec Boehm. This is depressing. We're in the cold side now.
Yeah, we're on the ice cold side. Alec Boehm, 128, 205, 179 with 1 double and 1 home run. He's 29, firmly in his prime. Exit velocity is down over 2 miles an hour to 88.5. Hard hit rate's down 8.5%. The bat speed is down another mile an hour, and it was down a mile an hour last year. Pull rate's down under 30%. So the bat looks slow. And he's been a great line drive hitter ever since he came into the league. And, before that is just probably his entire life. He's been a great line drive gap to gap hitter, kind of guy that I thought would hit 280 to 300 with 20 home runs and 40 doubles every single year with that swing. But, his line drive rate's down almost 10% this year. He's down at 12.
Yeah.
An infield fly ball rate, a pop-up rate of 21%. That's unheard of. So he is just as cold gets. Chase rate's down 2, swing is down 7.25. The in zone percentage is down 8, which pitchers are just not throwing him anything. He's just all kinds of off. I have him in a couple leagues. I have not dropped him yet. He's on the bench. There's way too much of a track record here of his ability to hit for me to say that 3 to 4 weeks he suddenly lost that ability. It's just a really cold start. You can't put him in until you start to see him heat up a little bit. But I'm going to hold for a little bit longer. We'll say at least 2 more weeks and see how things pan out.
The position makes him a hold, doesn't it? Because there's not like a lot of options at third base. It's like if you have some outfielders that are struggling right now, there's not a lot of options out there.
Yeah, third base is a little weaker and first base is a little stronger than it might have appeared early in the season. And that's really kind of just a function of so many third basemen scuffling badly.
Outfield is horrible.
We could have put Manny Machado on this list.
Yeah.
Manny Machado is one of the most consistent hitters that we've seen for the last 15 years. And he's hitting about like Alec Boehm is hitting right now with a little bit more slugging. It's pretty ugly. Now, there's no way that dude just forgot how to hit overnight.
I'll take him. Anyone want to talk trade?
I mean, look, another WBC guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I wonder what that was like in the culture of the WBC and then going back to spring, South Florida somewhere, and then, coming up in the cold. It's going to play on you a little bit.
A little bit. This will be the week, though. I think with a guy like Machado anyway, this will be the week because they only have 5 games, but it's 3 in Colorado and 2 in Mexico City. So, you couldn't play in a little league park and hope for better conditions. So,
it's true.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys, just especially the established guys, and I think a guy like Roman Anthony just needs a spark, right? Just lift the ball.
Well, these guys
pitch and do something with it, and just there's a lot of kindling around, just a little spark.
These guys are confident players. They are top level athletes. A little bit of success, and they will be right back in it. So you've got to stay the course with these guys. That's why we preach the National Day of Potential Concern somewhere in mid to late May, because 3 weeks of data interspersed with rainouts and cold weather and all kinds of garbage. That cannot trump all the research and all the past history that we have seen.
3 weeks, it started a calendar week early, too, by the way.
Exactly.
A few days a calendar week early.
Exactly.
And pitchers are always ahead of hitters, and it's always cold. And But that's not the case for everybody. Let's go to Kansas City now because there are all kinds of issues. And I got a ton of Kansas City. I got Garcia.
You're not alone, man. I have so
got
much
Bobby Witt.
Garcia and
I've
Kegley
got
and
Sal
all.
Perez, and we got
Yeah,
Pasquatch here, Vinny Pasquantino. Buy or sell? You're going to buy low on Vinny at this point? You got to, right?
I'm holding. I don't know that I'm buying with Vinny. You got one double, one triple, two homers, slash line of 143, 229, 242. He's had a lot more bad luck than Alec Boehm has. If you look at the expected data, 205 average, 321 slugging. I mean, it's not great, but it's not this ugly. Exit velocity is down a couple miles an hour to 88.8, which is a little bit below average. Hard hit rate's down almost 10%. The bat speed's down almost 3 miles an hour, which is a ton.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there. He's 50% fly ball and 53.5% pull. Now, Vinny is a bit of a fly ball pull guy, which limits the batting average to a point, but not to this extent usually. So the chase and swing strike rate, they're sort of equivalent to his norms. This is a team-wide slump. I'm inclined to just sort of almost ignore it. Depending on what options I had, I might bench him for another week or so, but I fully expect that lineup to get hot in the next couple of weeks, and probably all of it will happen at once. You'll see a couple 10-run outbursts. That is a good lineup, especially the top 6 slots, top 7 slots. It's a good lineup.
Yeah. In theory it is, but it hasn't been so far.
They have one guy that is sort of meeting expectations, and that's Carter Jensen.
Yeah.
So I love that kid. He is, oh man.
What this looks like to me, and test my theory at this point, is he had the 32 homer breakout last year, and he's kind of buying into that a little bit too much, a little too early, right?
Maybe so.
Approach change.
Yeah, I don't know that's an approach change because the bat speed's down so much. You would think the bat speed would actually be up if you were just trying to elevate and hit home runs.
If you were being aggressive, yeah, the bat speed would be up.
So I think he's just off a little bit. The whole team is off. And, if you're one of the leaders, which the Pasquatch certainly is one of the leaders in that Royal locker room, and Garcia is not performing to expectations. So we'll put percentiles on where these guys all are. I actually have the whole Kansas City offensive statistics right here.
All right.
So you've got Carter Jensen probably right now versus expectations, probably around the 55th, 60th percentile. Sal Perez is probably about 20. Miguel Garcia, probably about 35. Jonathan India, probably like 20. Kyle Isbell's probably at like 60.
Yeah.
But Pasquatch, 15. Caglianone, 25. Isaac Collins, my expectations, he's at 50, but for the industry, he's probably at like 30. Where's Bobby Witt? Bobby Witt's probably at like 5. Like, I know he's hitting 290, but slugging 367 with no homers.
Yeah.
That's none of this was expected. So if the entire lineup is bad, every single guy is trying to take it upon themselves, and it just sort of perpetuates itself. So they just need like a day off. They need a series against, like, I don't know, the Cardinals or something, and somebody cross-state rivalry that'll get them all hepped up.
Bobby Witt is another WBC example too. Had a very good WBC, and he's playing outstanding defense, by the way.
So is Pasquantino.
Yeah, Pasquantino too. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, a lot. If you look at the cold list across the board, hitters and pitchers, the majority of them were in the WBC. So I don't like drawing those kinds of parallels, but it makes sense. You go from max intensity all the time, every at bat, every pitch, to it's April baseball, man. We got 161 to go. Like,
the White Sox in April, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's
the
natural.
Twins in Bradenton, yeah.
It's to be expected. So I don't want to give you the impression that these guys aren't trying, but it's just, most of us out there listening have at some point in our lives done something where it's very important to us.
Yeah.
Of some kind of athletic or effort-based endeavor. And for me, it's been numerous different things, but most recently in my life, it's been darts.
Yep.
And I remember playing at the top level and playing, I was probably a step underneath the top 50 players in the country. I was ranked in the top 350 10 years ago. And somewhere along the line, I lost that ability at that level, and I can't get it back. And I think that, it's, playing, I would come back and play in league, and, my average is a 70 at the top level, and I come back in league and I'm shooting a 61, and I feel like it's the same thing, but it's not, because the intensity is just not the same.
Intensity, yeah.
So you can try to replicate it. You can try to convince yourself mentally that it's the same thing, but there's no way that it is.
I kind of get the feeling on a lot of these players, and a lot of this in general, is like we're going to laugh about this 2.5 weeks from now.
The vast majority of these guys, sure. And on both sides too, because we'll talk about this guy in a little bit, but I love Jose Soriano, but I don't think that there's a chance in hell that he ends the season with an ERA under 2, and he's at 0.2 right now. So, these things will even out because it's a long season. And again, we're an 1/8 of the way through. So patience.
Ruin my day because I'm living on Soriano right now. Actually,
I am. That's why my Tout Wars team is 6-0, pretty much just because of Jose Soriano.
All right, let's see. We mentioned him briefly, Sal Perez, and Sal Perez. This is a different situation from Alec Bohm because there's not as much position scarcity at catcher. This catcher is lying around out there. It's very tempting at this point to just move on, but I'm not ready to yet.
Talk about the position that has improved the most over the last 5 years. The catching position was extremely weak 5 years ago, and now I would say it's pretty strong. I mean, there are guys sitting out on the wire that are useful.
Yep.
Carson Kelly was sitting on the wire in a couple leagues. Like, that guy's good.
And a lot of people trim down to 1 catcher leagues, and so this catcher's just floating around.
Oh, well, yeah, 100% in those kind of leagues. But even in 2 catcher leagues, it's not as thin as it used to be by any stretch of the imagination. But the thing with Sal Perez, and we talk about this. This is something that I say all the time, is I am a firm adherent of the Branch Rickey school that I would rather be out a year too early than a year too late. And I've been out on Sal Perez. This is the 3rd straight year that I just have 0 shares. I will never have Sal Perez on a team again, I don't think, because I don't like the skill set. He chases everything and swings and misses a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's enough power right up until there isn't. And, right now he's got 3 doubles and 3 homers, 180, 221, 315. He's 35 years old, logged a lot of innings on those knees, 88.5 mile-an-hour exit velocity on average. That's down 1.5 miles. He's under the average for the first time in quite a while. Pull percentage is down 10%, and Sal Perez, if anything, is a big pull, big fly ball guy.
Yeah.
Bat speed's down 1.3 miles an hour. Chase rates back in the mid-40s. Swing strike rates at 15. None of this is all that unusual for Sal Perez. And that skill set has a very fine margin of error. And we may finally be at the time. We may not. But if I were going to bet on all the guys that are cold, now there's one other guy that I like less. But of all the 8 guys we're talking about that are cold, Sal Perez is my 2nd least favorite player. I am out. I'm not holding. I'm not anything. I'm out. There are better options out there. He could come back and hit 30 home runs, and I'll say, oh, well, I'm fine with that.
Just looking at the numbers, 27 homers, 30 homers the last 2 seasons, but he's been doing it. You hit the phrase right on the head. The margin of error has been really slim for him. His quality of contact doesn't necessarily match a 30 home run output or a high 20s home run output. There is no margin for error for him. He's off to a slow start already. We were hoping that the ballpark would play a little bit better for power this year for everybody concerned. I'm not necessarily ready to sell on him. I'm still hanging on a little bit, but we might be at that point because, again, as you put it, his margin for error with his quality of contact and his power, and of course his plate rates are not good. So at a certain point, this is all going to come tumbling out to house of cards, basically, right?
Yeah, it is. And he's logged a lot of time behind the plate for 15 years. That does wear on you. There's a reason that we don't see too many 38, 39, 40-year-old catchers out there. And yes, time has been minimized the last few years, but that doesn't mean that the damage didn't accumulate. And he's a 35-year-old guy that he's a professional athlete, but he doesn't look like he's in the best shape, if you know what I mean.
I got you.
So, yeah, I mean, I could see this going very badly. He feels like the kind of player where the end will come swiftly.
It's funny you mentioned that, too, because I have a high stake in Kansas City at this point. I've watched a ton of Kansas City games, and I've watched him behind the plate physically, marveling at the amount of at-bats he gets, the amount of playing time he does, and the amount of time he plays behind the plate. And I haven't seen that kind of tired I was looking for. But, could be there. And it might not be affecting him behind the plate and his play behind the plate, but it might be affecting him at the plate.
It could be. Was he a
hitting
WBC guy this year?
Body, right?
Was he a WBC guy?
Oh,
I feel like he probably was.
I feel like he probably was.
Yeah. I mean, either way, he's he's logged Pudge Rodriguez type numbers for 15 years behind the plate.
I know.
It has to take a toll.
And the power, especially power, is delivered from below the waist, and that takes you toll. That catching takes you toll on that, right?
And he does not have the best hitting approach to begin with.
No.
So yeah, I'm out here.
We've got marginal quality of contact. We've got less than marginal plate rates, right? And zone ability and contact ability.
Poor plate discipline.
Yep.
Poor to mediocre contact ability, and normally good power that has drifted a little bit to below average this year with Giancarlo Stanton type speed. Not a compliment.
No, not a compliment. I was laughing at that last night, by the way, watching him run, but that's a whole nother story.
Who, Stanton?
Yeah.
Watching him run.
Yeah, exactly. Where are we? He's not on the list here, but where are we on Giancarlo Stanton right now?
I love the guy. Did you see him last night?
Yes.
He hit that ball at a 42-degree launch angle, and it ended up on the street.
I know.
He's ridiculous. He can't open a bag of potato chips, and he's banging the ball off the monster. Come on, the guy's awesome. So what if he doesn't run? I don't care.
We were concerned about the wrist injuries, the wrist issues, so but it hasn't been a problem. I mean, he looked pretty good hitting that ball last night.
He's managing it. There's a perfectly good chance that he's going to have to hit the IL for 2 or 3 weeks at some point during this year just to calm down the inflammation, because it's basically like it's both of these elbow ligaments, and he can't anything. Shoulder's fine, but anything down here is just a problem for him. He can't open pickle jars. He can't open bags of potato chips, but he can hit the ball over the green monster. You figured out. I don't know. He's a marvel.
Just as an aside, because you brought up the home run last night, which was towering, as you said. You see the
announcers couldn't even find the ball. It went so high.
I know. Did you see the Jordan Alvarez home run the other night in third deck?
I did not, but dude, you want to talk about a guy that's hot?
Oh,
he was number one on the list, but I just ignored him because he's just awesome. And there's no reason to talk about it.
Yeah. There's something about the way they mic the sound in Houston, but you could hear the bat crack pretty clear.
And you could not be watching the game and know.
It was described to me because I didn't see the game live, and my cousin, who, by the way, was the first guy to mention Jordan Alvarez to me, he's down in Texas in Round Rock and is associated with the Round Rock Express down there, and said, you got to see this guy as a beast, and he was right about him all along. But he said it sounded like a gunshot, and it did sound like a gunshot, and it went into the third deck in Houston.
The third deck in Houston is one that I have not seen anybody reach, I don't think.
Yeah. This is one of those things where this video is going to get passed around the league, and he'll never see a low inside fastball again. Never.
You say never, but guys miss their spots.
They miss this spot.
Alvarez is ridiculous. He's a ridiculous hitter. I think if you're talking not speed, just contact and power, I think he's the best hitter in baseball.
Okay, so I wasn't sure about Pete Crow Armstrong coming in. I did keep him in a number of instances, and I didn't do it with a ton of confidence. Stott hasn't fed me any confidence either. Where are we?
Well, he isn't very good at baseball. He's hitting 225, 281, 303, 2 doubles, a triple, a homer, 4 for 7 in steals. So he's racking up some steals, but not a success rate like last year.
Yep.
And let's keep in mind that last season, great season for him, supposedly. In the second half, he was 216, 262, 372 with 6 home runs in the second half.
Yeah.
So now we're at like 3 months of this level of performance. And the problem is the 45% chase rate, the 14% swing strike rate. And let's keep in mind, as we're making some comparisons here, that those are basically the same numbers that Sal Perez has.
Yep.
Without Pete Crow Armstrong's speed, which is still very good. The sprint speed is basically the same as last year. So I don't know about the stolen base success rate, but the speed still is there.
We called Sal Perez's quality contact marginal, a thin margin for error. Pete Crow Armstrong isn't any better if he's even as good as Sal Perez in quality contact.
No, but I do see small glimmers of positivity here, or the potential for it. The bat speed's up another mile an hour, and it was up a mile an hour last year. Mm-hmm. And the exit velocity is up almost a mile an hour to above average. Last year, he hit 31 homers on below average, roughly average exit velocity.
Sub 90.
Yeah, it was 89.5 last year, I think. So,
do you have his max there? Because I know you.
I don't, but I'll look it up.
Yeah, that's something I don't even have in my dashboard, which I should. But...
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, his max last year was 113, and this year he's already 111.5. So those are above average numbers. The 113 is probably a good standard deviation to 2 standard deviations above normal. So you know that's you're up in like the 75th, 80th percentile. It's good.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
He has good power and very good speed. Raw power. The problem is the contact ability. The problem is the plate discipline. And, you know, he is only 24, so it's not a situation like Sal Perez where this is who he is. He could improve. I actually have him in tout, and he's a player. He's the kind of player I would never have, but the price was right at the time.
Right.
So, you know, I'm sitting there watching him, shaking my head every day because he is who I thought he was. But
lots of chase, heavy pull, not a good recipe.
Yeah, and you know, that kind of with his skill set, just some better swing decisions. I don't even care about the contact ability, but just better swing decisions. You know, recognizing balls and strikes is critical. You can swing and miss all you want, but a player like Jordan Walker, you can see why he will produce because he at least knows what a strike is and what a ball is.
Yeah.
You know, he's at least average in that respect. Pete Crow Armstrong, Sal Perez, below average ability to figure out what a strike is, which in Sal Perez's case is ridiculous because he was a catcher.
Yeah.
And well below average ability to actually make contact.
I think he knows what it is. I don't think he cares.
He doesn't care. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So PCA, I really wasn't in to begin with. The only share I have of him was in that auction format where the outfield gets thin quickly and it was pretty cheap. And I thought, well, you know, at least he'll like steal 30 bags and hit 15, 20 homers. And, you know, if he gives me a league average batting average, he'll be productive, which he's probably going to do that. I won't like how it looks, but it'll be productive enough.
There's nothing in his minor league resume that shows it can be any better. And there's nothing we're seeing this year or over the course of last year, again, with a bad second half, that indicates to us that he has the ability to improve this or the interest in improving this at this point.
Well, in the first half, he was outstanding, but, you know, guys were just throwing him fastballs to see what happened. Once he hit 25 homers, they're all like, oh, you know, maybe we'll do something else. Slow learners. But we've got from mid-July of last year, so 2.5 months and now another month. So 3.5 months of data that shows that PCA is about a 630, 625 ops kind of a player. Not ideal.
But 2020
is very likely. 2030 is probably likely.
Yeah, take it.
It's fine.
Depending on the price you paid for him.
Right. That was the issue, is that he was overdrafted everywhere. But, you know,
he's a 30-30 guy. You kind of have to draft him with some respect, but it doesn't mean we all have to buy in at the high price.
Right, exactly. It's just it wasn't worth it to me. You know, in 5x5 formats, he's going to give you some numbers, but from a straight baseball sense, he's not super productive.
All right, Cam Schlittler is outperforming his expected. No, he isn't. Yes, he is. He's outperforming his xFIP.
Well, no.
ERA. No, he isn't.
No, his xFIP's 186. His ERA is 195.
I know.
Now this kid is something else. I would tell you that he is the ace of the staff with already. Max Fried, Garrett Cole, and Carlos Rodon there.
Yeah, I know, right?
He's terrific. The walk, the control is the thing. Like I thought that we'd be looking at a guy that's going to walk 3 to 3.5 guys, so below average control with above average strikeout stuff, and he's going to allow some home runs. And you know, I thought he'd be kind of a mid-rotation guy with K upside, which very useful pitcher, potentially top 40 guy. That's what I was looking at. But all of a sudden, to see this level of control and the ground ball rates up 11%, and he's striking out even more guys, he's ridiculous.
The change in control and the ability to limit walks, which again, there's no evidence he had that ability, just coming out of the blue like this is stunning. It's absolutely stunning.
It is. And, you know, the swing strike rate's up to 16.5%. Now the chase rate's over 40. In essence, he turns every hitter into Pete Crow Armstrong. That's scary, right? I mean, this dude, and he's 25.
So, and he's working outside, which belies a great approach because he's working outside of the zone. Obviously, he's not just beating hitters, but he's working outside of the zone quite a bit, but still not walking guys.
The stuff is just so electric. And there are a handful of pitchers like this year. Like I was watching Nolan McLean last night, and it looks like he's throwing a frisbee up there. I don't know how you control it, but he didn't walk anybody last night. I was amazed that they got a couple runs off of him. But it's the Mets, so whatever can go wrong will.
Is the Yankees don't throw fastball philosophy helping him out at this point? Because his fastball deployment is down quite a bit.
Well, it's down, but I think, just the off-speed stuff has gotten so much better than when we first saw him. He certainly could go out and pump fastballs in at, a 70 or 80% clip and probably still be pretty successful. That fastball is so lively. But he just has a very diverse arsenal at this point. If the control stays at half of this level, you've got an ace on your hands. You got a top 12 pitcher.
I know, right? Again, keep the ball in the ballpark. Don't walk guys. Be able to strike out guys. He has the whole full hand right there. Yeah,
all the advanced ERA metrics put him somewhere right around a 2 to 2.1. I think the range of the metrics is 185 to 227 from what I've seen.
Did he have the sinker and hold it back in 2025, or has he developed the sinker?
Oh no, it was there. He used it some. Yeah. I mean, the full Fangraphs pitch charts don't match up with what I see sometimes.
Yeah. No, you gotta take him with a grain of salt.
A little bit, yeah. But yeah, he's the 2-seam, 4-seam. He's the whole package. He's great.
Although
I'm wondering who they're going to sit or send to the bullpen when Cole and Rodon come back, because all 5 guys have been really good.
It's not going to be him.
No, it will not be him. It's 2 of Warren. It's going to be Heel and 1 of Warren or Ryan Weathers.
Have you ever, based on a discussion we just had about Fangraphs and pitch deployment in the stats, have you ever played the pitch guessing game on Fangraphs?
No, I didn't even know that was a thing. I play it on while I'm watching the game myself.
I think it's Fangraphs. I'll find it and send it along to you. But yeah. It's a little bit stunning. And I don't know if it's about I can't pick a pitch or they can't pick a pitch. I don't know which it is, but they show you a pitch and you guess what it is, and
the whole curve / slider / sweeper thing is I just whatever, man. Whatever you say.
All right, so Jose Soriano, we got to get here. 0.28 ERA.
5-0, 0.28. He's unstoppable. You know how much I love the guy last year and coming into this year. Like, this is great to see, but let's not get carried away here. He still has below average control. Yes, it's a lot better, but it's roughly the same as it was 2 years ago. The stuff is just a little more electric. He's throwing the 4-seamer more and the 2-seamer less, which has made the 2-seamer even more effective when people can't just say, oh, here comes another 2-seamer, because he was throwing it like 70% of the time. He's decided that maybe mixing it up a little bit, people might miss more, which is exactly what's happened. Swing strike rate's up almost to 13 now. Chase rate's up from 27 last year to almost 35 this year. Exit velocity is down because people aren't just beating that 2-seamer into the ground. Yep. He's mixing it up a little bit more. Ground ball rate, it's down to 58.
Yeah, down to 58, yeah. We're okay.
Well, he was at 65 last year. So this kid, he's a great pitcher, 27 years old. If you look at the advanced ERA metrics, 270 to 305, that's a very, very good pitcher. But clearly there's going to be a bunch of regression here. He's going to go through some games where he's going to walk the world and then give up a couple singles probably. Or he's going to get that 4-seam elevated that he didn't really throw much last year, and he'll give up a home run or 2. These things will happen. But in general, if he just maintains this level of confidence, you're looking at a guy that's probably going to win 15 games on a horrible team and put up an ERA somewhere in the 250 to 325 range. He's going to be a very, very good, clear top 25 starting pitcher. I don't expect that to change as long as he can maintain that walk rate under, say, 3 3/4 per 9.
Yeah, I don't like the walk rate, but with the ground ball rate, if he can maintain that, would the pitch change, would the approach change? If he can maintain at 58%, again, it's down, but still, we'll take.
Yeah, he's a 60% ground ball guy. Like, he's among the elite.
Keep the ball in the ballpark, strike out guys. He'll walk a few guys, but if he can keep the ball on the ground, I don't have a problem with it.
If you're that difficult to hit, which he clearly is, as long as you don't walk the bases loaded and have to come in, you're okay.
exit velocity is down too. The quality of contact is up a little bit in terms of his barrel rate, and his hard hit percentage is down significantly. So, but this is a case of film not being out yet, right? I mean, there'll be more intel on the way he's deploying pitches as we go along.
A little bit, but I think that's the key. That's why the bat missing is up so much, because he's just become so much less predictable. Before it was just sinker, 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 and then once in a while you try to put somebody away with a slider. But there were people just beating that sinker to the ground, 65% ground ball rate, but they were hitting it hard. You just can't get on top of it, or can't get underneath it. I mean,
well, that's what people miss about pitching is you think that if he's added a pitch or he's adding pitches, a percentage of a particular pitch, you think once hitters get aware of it, they can just solve it. But the problem is, even if you're adding a pitch or you're adding a pitch percentage to a particular pitch, giving the batter more to think about, that's all it's about, giving the batter more to think about.
If you can tunnel it all properly, which it looks like he's doing. So, yeah, you're getting a lot of swing and misses on that four-seamer because it comes out the same as the two-seamer and doesn't drop, and there's people just swinging under it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he's a very impressive arm. I first pitcher that the Angels have developed, right? Ever.
Oh,
perhaps.
God.
Ever.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm trying to come up with a name.
Mike Witt. We're going back like 40 years now.
I know, right?
I don't remember. I mean, Chuck Finley did he come up to the Angels, I think?
Maybe.
I'm trying to think of somebody in the last 20 years, and I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, no, if we're working that hard, there was no one significant.
Well, between the two of us, we would probably come up with something.
But I like the approach again, the walk rate. But this might be a situation. How would you identify his control issues? Would you identify it as fear or mechanical?
Stuff moves too much.
Stuff moves too much. Yeah,
it's like he's too good, so the control is almost impossible to come by.
Yep. So, and when he's not missing bat, he's getting ground balls. So that's the important part.
Yeah. I'm on board here. I would not be selling. He's an absolute hold. Schlittler, absolute hold.
All right, so this week I'm playing against Seth Lugo and took that start last night against him. It was last.
You enjoyed that, right?
Before, yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of that. Yeah.
Seth Lugo also on my Tout Wars team. Yeah, I mean he's like my 6th starter, maybe 7th. It's been ridiculous.
Performing pretty well right now.
1-1 because the Royals can't score any runs, but a 1.15 ERA. 1-1 with a 1.15 ERA. Think about that. That's awesome. XFIP 358, xERA 392, Sierra 379. Like all the advanced ERA metrics have been between 350 and 4, which is an above average pitcher. 2.87 walks, which is down from last year. 8 Ks, which is up a little from last year. 40% ground ball rate, up a little from last year. The slider usage has increased, and it has been more effective. A little tighter break this year, it looks like. Swing strike rate, still a little below average. Chase rate, very below average. This looks like the 2023-2024 version of Seth Lugo, which was good. Certainly not spectacular, but good. He had 59 games started in those 2 years, and there were 10 starts that I would consider bad. So 5 out of 6 reasonable starts, reasonable to good. That's a pretty solid mid-rotation guy, and I think that's what you can get out of Seth Lugo. If somebody is willing to pay more than that, he's absolutely a sell high, but I just feel like there's such a track record here. People must know that this is just a hot streak.
Well, here's the thing, and here's what stands out to me is like he gives up homers, except he hasn't given up a homer yet.
He will.
And it's April.
Yeah, he will.
Right? Yeah, he will give up homers. There's nothing here do you see anything here that indicates he's found another level of performance?
Certainly not.
Yeah.
This looks like the same guy from 2 years ago.
So right now, the only thing they're missing is the home runs.
Yeah. And he'll allow some home runs, and he'll have a couple bad outings, and he'll have an ERA that's, 3. Because of this hot start, the ERA for the year may be, 3.4, 3.5, something like that.
Yeah. He's
normally probably pitched to a 380 the rest of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Above average.
Yeah.
He's fine.
But you know what? Ride the hot hand. Why not?
Well, yeah. I mean, who's going to give you anything for Seth Lugo? I mean, this is the thing. When people talk about sell highs, like, well, what are you going to get for him?
No.
If you can fool somebody into thinking that he's got a new pitch or something, and now he's a number 2 starter, yeah, great, by all means. But I think everybody knows who Seth Lugo is, and he's nobody different. He's better than he was last year. He's the same as he was 2 and 3 years ago.
At that point, you just get the trade voided anyway. So,
well, it depends on what kind of league you're in.
All right, Ashcraft here. What do we see so far?
Well, we were really high on him coming into the season, and he's justified that so far. 1-1, 2.38 ERA, xFIP 2.97, xERA is 2 flat. So everything shows. If you get the advanced ERA metrics, if they show you in the 2s, you're pitching very well, and he definitely is doing that. The walk rate's down under 3 now to 2.78. Ks are up quite a bit, 10.72. Swing strike rate's up to 13.5. Chase rate's up to 34. Like, all these are well above average now. 52.7% ground ball rate is excellent. Top to bottom, this is a very, very effective young pitcher. He's 26 years old. He has diminished the slider usage, increased the curve usage, which is a big positive for him on the breaking front. The curve has been much more effective. I don't see any reason for this change. Pirates, out of all the preseason bets that I put in this year, many of them, a quarter of them, were Pirate centric.
Yeah.
To win the NL Central, to win more than 80 some games. Like, I put a lot of bets in on the Pirates. They have quite a bit of young talent, some of which was underperforming, and I expected to improve. And so far, so good.
Well, last year, in that respect, the Pirates' futures basically last year were kind of off the rails a little bit, but it didn't change what we saw going into last year. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
you're almost looking for regression from a team standpoint.
They're pretty slow in terms of trying to take advantage of their window, and a lot of that is financial based. I mean, that's if there's a team that is poorer than the rest, Pittsburgh might be one of the couple that could take that actual title. Most of them just cry poverty and aren't actually poor. Like, look at the Padres are whining about whatever. Their franchise appreciated in value 12% annually from purchase to sale. So anybody would take that appreciation on any investment that they ever have. So when these owners cry poverty, it's like, cry me a river, dude. I have no sympathy for you.
Plus, they're going to start deferring all the money anyway. So it's for the next owner.
100%. Like, in the billionaires versus millionaires battle, I will always, always, always side with the millionaires. They have a limited shelf life. They don't have the kind of investment that the owners have that is constantly appreciating. They have themselves and themselves only.
I don't want to talk about owners right now. I'm very frustrated. So
I apologize.
A whole nother story.
We don't love ours either.
Yeah, but I guess.
Look, man, I'm a Knicks fan. James Dolan is the devil. I'm a Cowboys fan. Jerry Jones is the devil's father.
By the way, Dolan was close to owning the Patriots at one point.
Well, that would have made me much happier, actually. Yeah.
With Braxton, I was going to make the same argument with Seth Lugo, is that he just hasn't given up a home run yet, but his xFIP tells me does that work for me, and it's still a sub-3 ERA.
Yeah, he's much less likely to give up homers than Seth Lugo is once it's get stabilized. He just, 52.75% ground ball rate. You're not going to give up a ton of homers. I think he's a very good pitcher, and we talked about this about a month and a half ago, where I couldn't figure out just what the system was seeing in Ashcraft that was so impressive. Like, I thought he'd be pretty good, but he's been very good, and that's what the system expected he would be too. So yeah, I mean, computers are smart sometimes, or the people that program them are, Anthony.
All right, put the X-ray up on the lamps and tell me about Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, so 2-3, 7.88 ERA.
I will start it with this. On Boston Talk Radio for the last couple of days, one of the main subject matters has been, was 2025 the aberration? So let me ask you that way. No, Garrett Crochet is a very good pitcher. He's going through a little bit of a patch right now. That start against Minnesota, I don't know what that was. Yeah. But that was just, you might as well just cross that off. Yeah.
But the impact that's going to have on all of his numbers when you're trying to analyze them will be very significant going forward. That single start is probably going to raise his ERA by 0.4 of a run for the season.
I'm less worried about that start than I was the last start.
The last start wasn't as bad.
It wasn't as bad statistically, but what I saw, and you have the Minnesota start brought your alarms up and got you looking and seeing what was going on. And there's all kinds of questions. Is he healthy? Is it a dead arm period? Was 2025 the aberration? And what I saw in the start was that kind of disturbed me is even when he started that start and had a good couple of innings to open that start with, His location wasn't great. When he was missing, he was middle. And when he was missing outside, he was missing by a foot. He didn't have his command isn't
The
fine right
command
now.
has been bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like it's just a couple starts and people are getting a little unnecessarily alarmed. Strand rate's been 55.5%. The BABIP is 368. I mean, these things are going to come back to earth.
Well, the Red Sox are at 5-alarm fire at this point anyway, so everyone's antenna up.
They're on DEFCON 4 in good times, so let's not get carried away.
Fair enough, yeah.
I mean, the advanced ERA metrics, except for xERA, have him in the mid threes, and the mid threes is still an above average pitcher, and he hasn't pitched well. So I'm not overly concerned really. It sucks if you have him because the stats are banked. That 12 run outing is banked. Like, what are you going to do? Move on.
Is he a sub 3 ERA going forward?
If you're going to put the over under at 3, I would be having a tough decision. I think he'll be fine. Is
he a sub 3 ERA after June 1st?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a coin flip for me at that level. I think he's still very good. I think he'll end up, from here on out, probably be a top 12 pitcher.
I think he's healthy. That's the one thing people ask about health. I think he's healthy because they would not throw him out there if he weren't healthy.
No, you don't take chances with your franchise lefty. The velocity's down a half a mile an hour. That's acceptable in April. So we'll see where things are after a couple 80-degree starts where he's actually able to break a sweat.
The other question, and this gets interesting as we start to break down pitchers, was 205 innings last year. That's a lot of innings. That's a lot of innings
for a converted reliever a couple of years ago. So
is this carryover?
It's easy to Monday morning quarterback it.
Oh, I know.
I think.
Yeah.
The velocity's down a little, so maybe there's a little fatigue there. But I don't see anything that's not random, personally. I think he's all right.
Minnesota was pretty random.
Well, those things happen. Everybody has those starts.
I know, but it was the Twins. Although the Twins were fairly hot for a while.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of right-handed hitting.
Yeah. Wait it out. We're not selling, basically. No. All right, we can't do a show without talking about Eury Perez, it seems.
I'm not super excited here. He's 2-1 with a 4.15 ERA. But, the XFIP, xERA, Sierra, all like 420 to 475. That's a below average arm. The walk rate is up a lot.
What the numbers say he is, right?
Yeah, I think so. And that the problem is when you project growth from a young player and don't get it. It's very disappointing. But he looks like a guy that just below average control, above average bat missing, but not great sequencing. The velocity's up again. That's a good thing. But that fastball's really straight, and guys will hit it no matter how much velo you have. They'll hit your fastball.
He's not fooling a lot of hitters. He doesn't get a lot of chase.
He doesn't get much chase at all, but he gets a lot of swinging strikes. So the raw stuff is great, and there clearly is a pitcher here that could be really good. But I'm not seeing it. There's no development. So I'm much less excited than I was a month ago. He probably will be fine, maybe a league average kind of pitcher with upside and Ks. But I'm a little bit meh about him.
80% slider fastball. It's been his way throughout the career. 2-pitch pitcher.
He's a 2-pitch guy, yeah.
Yep. And he's got a changeup that he's using a little bit more, but it doesn't seem particularly challenging.
It's not good.
Why can't they? Again, we ask this question every year. Why can't they teach someone a changeup? It's an easy.
Should be the first 2 pitches you learn: fastball, changeup.
It's an easy pitch. I taught a kid a changeup over a text message.
Yeah,
several years ago.
Well, maybe you should text Eury Perez.
Yeah, text Eury Perez. See what happens. All you got to do is learn how to throw it, and then just keep throwing it till it looks good.
Yep. Yeah, you just want it to be repeatable, the same as the fastball.
So you can throw it with the same arm speed. That's all you need.
Exactly. Yeah, I just really thought he was going to be a top 30 pitcher this year, and I think he's kind of a jag right now. Just another guy.
All right, Abbott.
Yeah, Andrew Abbott. This is all forecastable. Like he just kept outperforming his peripherals, and sooner or later that's got to come home to roost. 0-2 with a 5.84 ERA, xFIP 4.77, and that's the best of the advanced ERA metrics. The Sierra's 5.08. Like it doesn't look like he's effective at all. Walks are up quite a bit, which is something we've seen in the past from him. 4 walks per 9, not striking out anybody. 8.6% swing strike rate, chase rate's 25, 5.5 Ks per 9. This is all bad stuff. And his sliders is only plus pitch. So if he can't get lefties to chase the slider, there's just not a lot there.
Can't strike out guys, walking a ton of guys. He's keeping the ball in the ballpark now, but he hasn't done so in the past. So
that ground ball rate's up a lot.
Yeah.
But there's nothing here. I mean, for me, he's a cut. I'm just not interested.
Right, and we were on the fence last night whether they were going to do Jesus Lozada. How'd that turn out?
We're doing it because on the surface the outing wasn't great, and he's 1-3 with a 6.91 ERA now. He had one really good start at Coors, and everything else has been bad for the year. His last 2 home starts, the BABIP in those starts was 4.55 and 5.24. He has been a victim of some pretty wretched luck. You only have to look at the xFIP to see that, 278. So walks are under 3. Ks are up to almost 11 per 9. 86 mile-an-hour exit velocity. Ground ball rate's up. Fly ball rate's down 13. The velocity's up 2 miles an hour now over the last 2 years. Chase rate's up 5. Swing strike rate's almost 15. All 4 of his pitches grade as plus. This is the most gigantic buy low scenario. If you can get any kind of discount at all, do it. This kid's still really good. He's had terrible luck so far.
Hasn't had a ton. Well, he's got some swinging. Hasn't had a ton of. Well, he's got some chase too. I'm trying
35 and 15.
Trying to belittle his zone work, but he's doing pretty well.
No, everything looks great except what's actually happened.
Throws ground balls, doesn't walk guys, can strike out guys,
and no exit velocity against. 86 is extremely low. 54% strand rate, 395 BABIP tells the story to me.
Yep.
I'm firmly in here still. Go get him if you can.
Do we like him in Philly though?
Yeah, love him. Good pitchers are good pitchers.
So buy low. But there's a ton of starting pitching floating around out there.
There is, but not many as good as Luzardo. You don't see a lot of advanced ERA metrics under 3.
No, that's true.
When you see that is a legitimately quality pitcher.
xFIP, and he's given up like 1 homer per 9, and his xFIP is down to 278.
Yep.
Tells he's got a lot of good going on here.
He does, but he's just had absolutely horrific luck.
Left on base percentage 54%. But he's been sub 70% for like 2 years now.
Yeah, I mean, that is indicative over time of a guy that struggles from the stretch, but still, there is a luck component to it always.
All right, check us out at insideofbaseball.com. Go over to insideofbaseball.com. There's a free baseball blog, which has a lot of samples from our articles that go out to our subscribers daily. If you're not a subscriber, check out our features, how we help you win championships during the season. Also, this podcast is there free to non-subscribers all year long as well. Thanks, Guy.
All right, buddy. See you soon.
All right, we'll see you soon. I got to see if I can play the music here and get us out. Grab the right mouse. I got 3 of them here.
Uh-oh.
Got to make sure it's a mouse I actually grab. All right, we'll talk to you next time.